All right, today we're doing triangles. What you need to know about a triangle, it's a figure with 3 sides and 3 angles. You should know that. Now we're going to get into more detailed parts of a triangle, like a vertex. The vertex is the point where the segments intersect. This is a vertex, that's a vertex, and this is a vertex. When we name triangles, we name them based off their vertices, okay, each vertex. The sum of the measures of the angles of a triangle is 180. So angle measure of x plus y plus z gives you 180 every time. You need to remember that number. Alright? Need to draw that. It says find the measure of angle P in triangle PQR. This M and then the angle sign, this means the measure of angle P. P would be here. That's the vertex here. Triangle, that's a symbol of a triangle, tells you it's triangle PQR, which it's named by its vertices or the angles PQR. You're supposed to find the measure of angle P, which we know a triangle adds up to what? 180. So what I do is I add up what they give me, 89 and 54. That gives me 143, and I subtract that from 180. Gives me 37 degrees, and that's my answer. That's how I'd find something like that. In triangle ABC, if measure of angle A is 62 and the measure of angle B is 39, what's angle C? So I subtract 62 and 39 from 180. 62 plus 39 is what?
101.
101, so I subtract that from 180. 79 is my angle measure of C. This is going to be another way they ask you to find the measures of a triangle, of the angles of that triangle. So it says the measure of the angles of triangle ABC are in the ratio 1 to 3 to 8. Meaning for every degree A has, angle B has 3 of those degrees. So if angle A was 1 degree, angle B would be 3 degrees, and angle C would be 8 degrees. So if angle A was 10 degrees, angle B would be 30, and angle C would be 80. That's what we're trying to figure out. Here's the easiest way of doing it. Putting an X for 1. For angle B, it's going to be 3X. For angle C, it's going to be 8X. And what do they add up to? 180. We need to figure out what X is. We need to figure out what that X is. So I add my like terms, which gives me 12x. 1 plus 3 plus 8 is 12. Then I would divide by 12, like we've been doing all year. 180 divided by 12. If I remember right, it's 15. So x equals 15. Am I done? Is that my answer? No. That is one of the angle measures. Which one? Angle A, B, or C? A, the first one. This one, right? So what would be angle B?
Take that times 3.
Take 15 times 3, which would be 45. And then we take 8 times 15, which would be what? 120. Now, before you answer, before you circle it, check your answer. How can I check my answer? Add them all up, see if they equal 180. 15 plus 45 is 60. 60 plus 120 is 180. So I know these are the 3 angle measures. The measures of a triangle are in the ratio 1, 3, 6. What are the measures of the angles? So my first angle is always x. Then it's 3x. Then it's 6x. They add up to 180. Because for every 1 degree in angle A, angle B is 3 degrees and angle C is 6 degrees. What number, when you add all those up, will give you 180? So I add my like terms, which is x, 3x, and 6x. That gives me 10x. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 6 is 10. So I've got 10x equals 180. Then I divide by 10. X equals what? 18. Cancel out 0. So that's angle A. What would angle B be? Someone raise your hand and tell me how I get angle B. Gracie. Times 18 with 3. Good. Which was what? 54. And then I would take 18 times 6. Which is what?
108.
It's 108. If I remember right. Let's check. 18 plus 54 is 72. 72 plus 108 is 180. So these must be right. Don't get these wrong. Is there anything complicated about x plus 3x plus 6x equal 180? No. Okay, we've been doing problems like that all year long. All right, one thing you need to know is about congruent angles. Okay, it's two angles that have the same measure. Also, you need to know about congruent sides. It's two sides that have the same. Congruent means equal to. If you have an angle like this with the little box in the corner, that's exactly a 90-degree angle. We call that a right angle. If we have an angle that's less than 90, we call that acute. And if it's between 90 and 180, we call that obtuse. If it's exactly 180, we call this a straight line. All right? Any questions? Draw these triangles. On triangles, it's going to ask you, your homework's going to ask you to find the missing angle measures or just all of the angle measures. And then it also might say identify the triangles, classify the triangles. Make sure you're reading the directions on your questions. You will have to have all of the information they're asking for the problem to be right. If they want you to identify the type of triangle, we can do it by two ways. By angle measure and by sides. Angles, we have, if they're all acute angles, it's an acute triangle. All three angles have to be acute for it to be an acute triangle. It has to only have one right angle for it to be a right triangle. And it has to have an obtuse angle for it to be an obtuse triangle. Alright? Everything else is going to be acute. So the only way it's an acute triangle is if all three of them are acute. If they ask you to identify it by its sides, if it doesn't have any congruent sides, we call it scalene. If it has at least congruent sides, which that's what the two little tick marks mean, means these sides are congruent, then it's an isosceles triangle. And if all three are congruent sides, we call it an equilateral triangle. Are there any questions? Okay. It will ask you to identify by both, by angles and by sides. Make sure you're reading the directions. Womack, what is the first one classified by its sides? By its sides? Beagle, what would it be by if you're
Wait.
Gaddy? It'd be scalene. It doesn't have any congruent sides, so we call it scalene. Make sure when you're classifying, look at these. That's why I made you write them down in your notes, so you can look back at them. All right? Now, Womack, classify it by its angles.
Right.
It's a right triangle.
Okay.
All right? This one. Someone raise your hand and tell me by angles. Kobe? By angles. Come on, there's only three types. Acute. It has all three are acute. Good. Gauge sides.
Isosceles.
It's isosceles because it has two congruent sides. This one would be equilateral and acute. All right? Any questions? Here's your homework assignment.